And we are live. This is the Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander. We are recapping Canada's loss to France. They are eliminated from Olympic play. They fall 82-73 against France in the quarterfinals. A disappointing end to Canada's Olympic run. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did everything he could with 27 points in this game, 9 of 19 from the floor, 16 points for RJ Barrett, but Canada needed a lot more from elsewhere, and they didn't really get it. The hope for Team Canada was a medal. That's it, right? So having a team, all these NBA players, the expectations are high. The second most NBA players in the Olympics, you expect to medal. That is the goal. And Canada was only held to 10 points in that first quarter. And that's a struggle for a team that obviously has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on. I mean, they shot 20% in that first quarter, 7 turnovers. You were lucky to only be down 23-10. You're down 13 at the end of the first quarter. I'm going to keep saying this because people are going to, like, I'm looking at Twitter right now. Jamal Murray is trending. I'm sure not good things. I got text messages on my phone of people just crushing Jamal Murray, right? But I want to ask people a question because when you look at France's team, Wembanyama shot 2 for 10. Are people going to be out here savaging Wembanyama for not playing well? Now, I'm not making an excuse for Jamal Murray, right? 6 points per game in the Olympics is not enough. I thought Jordy Fernandez, what he did with the rotation was actually really good. He gave Jamal Murray every opportunity to try to figure it out, to try to be aggressive. Gave him minutes with Shai, gave him minutes without Shai. All of the above, he just wasn't able to play well. And if anything, what we should really be talking about is just the importance of having your core group together from last year to this year. The reality is, we saw the camaraderie, the chemistry between Shai, between Dylan Brooks, between RJ, between Lou Dort, Dwight Powell. Those guys have played together now for 3 straight summers. Sorry, someone just told me the music's still going, and I apologize. I'm just hype right now. I should have turned off the music a long time ago. I'm just fired up. I'm just hype. I apologize. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. What I'm saying is, Jamal Murray, you have him in this moment, and you're putting him in the game, and you just hope that he's able to, knock down shots. Now, the major difference is, and I'm making this comparison not because Jamal Murray is Kevin Durant or that Team Canada is Team USA, but I think the similar thing was you plugged in Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant was just bombing away from 3, right? But it's different because of the style of play that the US plays versus Canada plays. Canada in international ball, they're running a lot of sets, right? Which is how they should play. I just think Jamal Murray didn't have enough time to get up to speed. Now, obviously, he didn't play in a lot of the pre-tournament qualifiers, which I said at the time, I'm totally okay with. I'm not going to be mad at the fact that he didn't play in the pre-tournament qualifiers because you want him to be playing when the time comes and the games really, really, really matter, right? So the fact that that didn't happen, to me, it's sports. That happens. Sometimes you don't play well when you need to, when the games are the biggest and you need your stars to shine brightest, and Jamal Murray just didn't do that. That didn't happen. But I'm not going to crush the guy. Like I'm seeing right now on social media, everyone's just murdering Jamal Murray, where it's like we forgot the last 24 years of not making the Olympics. And yes, you made the Olympics without Jamal Murray. Cool. I understand that. I get that. But you're still always going to take Jamal Murray on your team. And it can be, a lot of things can be true at the exact same time. Jamal Murray needed to play better for Canada, right? And at the same time, we can be proud of the progress that this program has made, right? The progress that, you had to fight to try to get all your players to play. I think if there's a lesson that's learned in this, it's that you need to have your core group together multiple summers in a row so they're able to build chemistry, so that they're able to work together and play together. And listen, a lot of time spent that I've done playing or watching Team Canada over the last couple years in terms of watching Canada basketball, talking about Jordi Fernandez, watching these guys play. I've given a lot of credit to Jordi Fernandez for the coaching job that he's done. In this game, I'm going to give a lot of credit to France's coach because they made a lot of adjustments so that they could match up better to Team Canada, right? Rudy Gobert barely played in this game. And why is that? Because they knew it wasn't the right matchup for him. And against Canada, you're better suited to play small. And it worked for them, right? Like Yabusele was a beast in the middle. Lessort, who came off the bench, he was a beast for them in the first half when he was getting all the free throws. That's a story for another day. I'm trying to delay when I talk about the refs here because I feel like there were a lot of other issues for Canada in this game besides the reffing. Now, Canada, no Gobert, but Canada still was having trouble in the paint. And they brought in Kem Birch. I thought Kem Birch gave them some solid minutes. I thought Trey Lyles gave them some solid minutes because really Canada just needed to match the fight and intensity. And I just think, you look at this game and Jamal Murray's going to get crushed. I get it. I'm seeing Wiggins is trending for some strange reason that I don't really get. But overall, I'm going to say, right, the biggest thing people need to realize is there's a difference between the NBA game and the international game. And Canada did a really good job in getting their program to a place where you're able to compete with the toughest teams in the league. And if you go back a couple years, right, I remember doing an interview with Russell Westbrook. And this is going back to, I want to say like around 2012, 2014, the World Championships that were in Turkey. And I remember talking to him, asking him about, just what was the toughest game. And he said playing Turkey in Turkey was something unlike he's ever experienced before. Right? And that just goes to show we have no actual concept of how loud it was in that building, what the energy was like in that building. And even if you go to whatever NBA game, you're still going to have a couple road fans that made the trip to cheer on the opposing team. That was not like this game at all. And everyone fell for it, right? Everyone was affected by it. France was hyped up by it. Canada, you could tell, was struggling through it. The refs clearly were influenced by it as well, and I had someone message me on our live hangout, right? Because if you remember too, big shouts to the people who are watching on the Instagram feed. Just know the main feed is on YouTube right now. In case that Instagram feed goes down, just know you can find us over on YouTube. Just go to Sheldon Alexander. But during our live hangout, I had someone write in and they said, hey, France, these are just the calls they've been getting. If you go back to France getting a dub against Japan, in which there was a 4-point play called at the end of the game, which sent it to overtime, France ended up winning. All of these things, it's just difficult, right? But Canada, I think, made a good adjustment at halftime where they realized, hey, the refs aren't going to be on our side, right? They're just not. So how do you play through it? The key's got to be to play through it if you're Canada because you're not going to get the calls. That part's never going to change. And so you just got to learn to play through the contact, still try to play your game where you're going downhill, you're trying to get the calls, you're trying to get to the line, and just hope that things do turn around and go your way. And, they were able to cut it to 5 at certain points. They just couldn't get over the hump. And Canada was dealing with foul trouble, right? I'm not talking about the actual calls. I'm just talking about how the foul trouble affects your rotation and the things that you might be trying to do, right? And Canada had a chance. They cut it to around 7, but then a little spurt at the end of the first half completely flipped it for Canada at the end. And, I'm seeing some of these tweets from people and we just throw out these words like I'm reading this tweet here and it says, no discipline, no composure, completely out of sorts at both ends of the floor.
16-point deficit for Canada at the half. And listen, okay, I understand that you can look at that and say Canada was down. They shouldn't be down 16 at the half. I get that. I agree with that. I understand that. But to me, that's only telling one side of the story. And in this like hot take culture that we're in right now, where first off, everybody's got a take. Everyone's trying to sum up a full basketball game in one singular tweet, right? We lose context and we lose the ability to understand that multiple things can be true at the same time. And I can say that, hey, Canada got off to a brutal start in this game. And I can also say that the refereeing was a complete and utter gong show. Those two things can both be true, right? Canada lost this game, and you can say they did. It's easy to say they didn't lose the game because of the refs. But I can be honest and say they definitely didn't win the game because of the refs either. 42-25 was the advantage France had in terms of free throw attempts. I'm going to say that again. 42-25 was the advantage that France had in terms of shooting free throws in this game. At halftime, right? If we go back to halftime, in which Canada definitely did not deserve to be winning the game, right? Nobody's going to agree with that. But France shot 25 free throws in the first half of the game, okay? Like 25-8 free throw advantage in a half of basketball is crazy. 25 free throw attempts in 20 minutes of basketball is insane. I'm going to say that again. This is Olympic play. So you play 10-minute quarters. For you to shoot 25 free throws in 20 minutes of basketball, that's insane. So on the one hand, you could say, hey, Canada lacked this and lacked that in the first half, and they did not play well at all. They really didn't. They deserve to be down at the half. I get that. But I think people need to understand how difficult it is to make a comeback in a game where you're going to have to do that by playing defense, right? You're going to have to do that by guarding, stepping up your defensive intensity. You're going to try to probably be more physical, right? If you're Canada, that's how you're going to play. But every time you touch the other team, it's a foul. And not only is it a foul, but of course, then they're shooting free throws. So it's points on the other end. So how are you going to make up this deficit if you can't even play defense? Again, it's not the reason why Canada lost because you dug yourself a 13-point hole in the first quarter and you're down 13 early. You couldn't get buckets early. They had trouble getting into their offense. They couldn't score. They couldn't get to the free throw line. They couldn't do anything. But when you look at this game and you say, okay, well, it's a 9-point game at the end. Canada was unable to, get it below 5 in terms of a deficit. And that's tough, right? But when you look at a 9-point game overall, and then you say one team shot 42 free throws, the other team shot 25 free throws. The one team was the home team. And then, if you were allowed to show Olympic footage anywhere, where you could show some of the replays of some of these foul calls that were going on and giving France free throws, again, this is not about Twitter. This is not about social media posts where you're just yelling for the sake of yelling and have the ability to just crush Jamal Murray. Like, multiple things can be true at the same time. Everybody is disappointed with this outcome. The team is disappointed. The players are disappointed. The organization is disappointed. The fans are disappointed. Everyone's disappointed, right? But you cannot just singularly blame one thing. I think it's way too easy for people to be like, hey, Jamal Murray played bad and that's why Canada lost. It's not that easy, right? And we've seen Canada play with other guys, and hey, at halftime, Shai did his part, right? He had 13 points. The rest of Canada, the entire team for Canada had 16 points, right? So at the half, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 13 points, 5 of 10 field goals. The rest of Canada, 16 points, 5 of 20 from the floor. Shai just needed some help. And you were hoping that it was going to come from Jamal Murray. That just didn't happen. So my overall point in this whole thing, my overall point in doing the pod, trying to, discuss everything that went wrong for Canada, is just instilling in the fan base that it is not just one thing that went wrong for Canada in this game. And these things happen in Olympic play, right? Like, don't you think Australia, who had the third most NBA players on their roster, they didn't even make the quarterfinals, right? They didn't even make it out of the group stage. And Canada was able to do so, right? So it's more than just having NBA players. There's a lot more to it. To me, when I look at this game, I genuinely think that everything flipped with the free throw shooting in that half. It's just too difficult for you to come back, right? It makes it near impossible for you to come back. Canada had the game down to 4. They had it. It was a 5-point game with like 4 minutes left. Canada was right there. They battled and battled and battled. And to me, right? There's no moral victories, but I applaud this group for what they were able to do and come back in this game. Everyone's going to be disappointed. We live in this culture where negativity sells more than positivity, right? Nobody's retweeting when they watch something and they like it. We retweet stuff when we watch it and we dislike it. We retweet the hot takes that are negative. That's just what we do in our culture right now. And I understand that and I get it. I'm just not falling for the okie doke. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to come out here and say a lot of different things. Now, Canada, you want a medal, right? This is a heartbreaking loss for Team Canada. The goal was to medal at the Olympics. The path was set for you at the Olympics, and you just couldn't get it done. And I think if you are Canada, your hopes is that you want to be able to take this experience, learn from it, and build towards the next run at the next Olympics and the next World Cup, because you understand the importance of playing for your country. You understand the importance of, building a foundation that will lead to more and more success, to where we're not waiting another 24 years to cheer on our Olympic team on the world stage. And listen, if everybody wants these guys to play for the national team, right? Like, you want Jamal Murray to play, and then he plays poorly. We can all understand that. But do we think the right way to go about it is to then crush him online? Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve some backlash because he didn't play well. Totally understand that. Totally get it. But I just think that, you'd be better served knowing or trusting in the fact that he is going to take that on himself and work on that to be better going forward. You don't want him to look at this experience and be like, oh man, that wasn't really worth it. I could have just been chilling and enjoying my summer, signed my multi-million-dollar contract with the Denver Nuggets, and just, thought of as being the hero. Like, oh man, maybe if Jamal was there, Canada would have won. But no, he decided to put the jersey on. He decided to risk, playing through whatever he was dealing with towards the end of last season and into the playoffs. And he decided to try and play for Team Canada, and it just didn't work out. And that's happens in sports, right? I'm seeing a quote here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after a quarterfinals loss to France, quote, "If you don't earn it, that's what happens. You lose." Shai's a real one, right? Shai, I hope that, despite what happened here to keep Team Canada, I hope that we realize that we need to boost Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, then just boost his stature as a player, as a, athlete in this country. And no, they didn't medal. The hopes were to medal. it's disappointing because the path was clearly there to medal if you're Canada in terms of not having to play the US until the finals, right? Like the path was there for you. I get that, right? But the difficulty is just understanding that it's sports and the understanding that it's tough to medal at the Olympics. There's a lot of really, really good teams. And I just emphasize people that before you crush Jamal Murray, you understand that there's a difference between international basketball, right, and the NBA, right? It's just the facts. Wemby went 2 for 10. Nobody's like, Wemby sucks, man. He shouldn't play. They should have benched him for Gobert. Nobody's saying that, right? Now, Jamal Murray goes, what did he go for this game? As I said, Wembanyama, he was 2 for 10 in this game. Jamal Murray was 3 for 13 in this game. So all I'm saying is have the understanding that the game is just different, meaning the style of play is different. And Jamal Murray, if you look at how Jamal Murray plays in the NBA, everyone's like, oh, without Jokic, he's nothing. Well, it's a style of play that fits in, right? He's able to just live off the two-man game, the pick and roll, the pick and pop, and just live off of that action all the time, but especially in crunch time. For Team Canada, it's not really the case, right? If he was getting the ball on action, and he was getting the ball, it's him left to beat a defender one-on-one. And that's difficult to do. Do you expect him to be able to do that? Yes, but he wasn't able to do it, and that's why Canada lost. And hey, it took a full half for RJ to get things going as well, to where RJ, wasn't able to get busy and get some points, where he was able to get the ball in action, but to a strong hand going left to the cup, right? Let me read some tweets here from some reporters. Michael Grange says, Shai was brilliant, 27 points and some tremendous defensive efforts from Brooks and Dort especially. But other than a little burst from RJ Barrett, no one else stepped up. Jamal Murray just never got going and finishes the Olympics 9 of 31 from the floor. Nightmare. There was never a guarantee Canada would win a medal. The field was deep, but in crucial game, they were undone by a lack of size and cold shooting. 24% from three. France got 0 points from Gobert, 6 from Wemby, but win because they get 55 from 3 non-NBA guys. International hoops runs deep. Just straight facts from Mr. Michael Grange there, right? And listen, the reality is international basketball runs deep, but just our perception of it. We're jumping in and everyone thought, hey, you bring your NBA guys, that means that you're guaranteed to win. And that's not the case, right? Like that's just not how international hoops works. The reason why everyone was hyped is because we've been waiting to try to get all of our NBA guys to play, and you finally did, and it gives you a better chance. And the reality is, I'm going to say this because not a lot of people are going to say this in this moment, but okay, so Jamal Murray didn't shoot well, right? What was the number I just read? 9 for 31 overall. 9 for 31 in the entire Olympics from the floor. My question is, right, you have to understand, Jamal Murray, who would you rather have been shooting those 31 shots? Like if you take away Jamal Murray's minutes and he's not there, and so Nembhard gets bumped up, cool. He didn't really play well in this game either, right? And he had opportunities to play well. Nikhil, right? I thought Nikhil played great defense, but you'd much rather have Jamal Murray than Nikhil. So you look at it and you say, hey, you live and you die by your best players. Jamal Murray just didn't have it going. And I give credit to Jordi Fernandez, and everyone's wondering, oh, Jamal Murray wasn't starting. Like, is something up? Like, how's Jamal Murray coming off the bench? And maybe Jordi Fernandez just knew, hey, like I gotta play the minutes a little differently here with Jamal, or I gotta play the matchups a little differently here, where I gotta play Lou Dort, who I thought played a great game. I thought Lou Dort had an exceptional game, right? He's one of your stalwarts on your team. Dylan Brooks, I'm sure he's very frustrated. 1 of 9, 0 for 3 from 3. That's tough for Dylan Brooks, but he had the matchup of guarding Wemby. So that's also difficult. Just a really tough go for Team Canada all the way here. And, it's a disappointing loss. It's a very, very disappointing loss. It's a heartbreaking loss. I'm not going to make excuses, for Team Canada and say like it was all the referees' faults. But I am going to stress that, hey, listen, at the end of the day, just understand that there's a lot more to what happened in this game than just, Jamal Murray didn't show up and that's why Canada lost. It was a 5-point game late. And listen, I saw a tweet. Someone said, let's sub in Jamal Murray for one more run here where he's able to get another turnover. And it's like, okay, you want to be mad at Jamal Murray? Cool. But the reality is that, again, who do you want those minutes to go to? Who is the player that you want to be taking those shots if it's not Jamal Murray? As you see me struggle to hold up this sign here that's going to fall behind me. But I'm going to fix it. We're here. We're good. We're all right. But the point remains here, right? I saw someone say, sub in Jamal Murray for one more turnover. It's like if Jamal Murray hit the one more big shot, we wouldn't be saying anything. But also, he got fouled. They just didn't call it. Surprise, surprise. So that's what I mean. It's a tough go for Canada, right? Things did not go their way at all. And at the end of the day, I feel like Canada could have played a whole lot better. They needed to be a whole lot better if they had a chance here. France, I thought, came in and they switched up their lineup. Here's a quote here. France's Rudy Gobert, who was benched and played limited minutes in a quarterfinal win over Canada, said he suffered an unspecified finger injury during practice before the knockout round. 2 fingers on the left hand were taped together. Are we buying that? Anyone? Are we buying that? France's Rudy Gobert on the starting lineup changes in the quarterfinal win over Canada that moved him to the bench. Quote, I have full trust in my teammates and coaches. It worked. You saw the way we started tonight. The guys are ready to play. They set the tone for the whole game. Rudy Gobert was injured. Is that what we're going with? Because do we think that game goes better or worse with Rudy Gobert in there for France? Man, Rudy Gobert gives me such a Joel Embiid energy. It's really funny. Oh, man, my text messages are going crazy. I'm going to have to go through those later on for sure. Everyone's frustrated. Everyone's rattled for sure. I don't know, man. That's a tough loss for Team Canada. Let me get some more feedback here from just some of the talk that's going on online. Just a tip of the cap to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This from Caritha U on Twitter. Says Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his first Olympic Games, 21 points versus Greece, 16 points versus Australia, 20 points versus Spain, 27 versus France. Shai's 3 20-point games are the most at one Olympics by a player for Canada since Jay Triano in 1988. I like reading these things because the point is to give us all perspective, right? Perspective of where this program has come from, perspective from where, the things that we've watched and seen with this program over the last 2 decades plus, right? Canada struggled in this game, and Shai, who had 27 points, the most in a game for Canada at the Olympics since Michael Meeks in 2000. Okay. 2000. We're in 2014 or 2024. Wow. Wow. I was only off by 10 years there. But my point is, right? Canada is at such a point where we got very lucky to which we got to this point where we're in this Olympic Games where we have the best team that they've been able to put together in 24 years. Canada could have made the last Olympics and the team wouldn't have been as good. The Olympics before that, remember Trey Lyles missed a shot. right at the end of the game, and they didn't make it then. Remember the game against who was it that they were playing against when they called Kelly for an offensive foul when dude was going up for a rebound, right? And Canada didn't qualify then. The Corey Joseph era, right? My point is, they've struggled to get to the Olympics, that we've almost taken for granted how difficult this all is. And I'm not doing happy to be there. Not doing happy to be here. But the reality is, you got to take a step back and understand how difficult it's been for Canada to get to this point, to where you're among the top 8 teams in the world. And yes, we think just because we have the most NBA players that should guarantee us something. There's a reason why the U.S. had to ante up their team and call in the Avengers. There's a reason why that happened, right? The reason is because the rest of the world is here. The rest of the world, they don't play. And they have a better understanding of international play. They have a better understanding of how they play to their players' strengths, right? And Canada's just not there yet. There's going to be a World Cup coming up. There's going to be Olympics in 4 years, and Canada will be right back. They'll have a deeper squad. You know, they'll take this experience and learn from it. If you think Shai's not going to be super motivated coming off of this, he wanted to medal. He wanted to do it all. 27 points for Shai. And listen, I don't know. I just think that when you look at it, here's a stat. France's 42 free throw attempts today against Canada were the most in a game at the Olympics since Rio. USA versus Serbia, 42 free throw attempts. Listen, I honestly just think that Canada, at the point that we're at with this team, the point that we're at in watching this team, I'm going to make this choice to give these guys credit for giving us a run that we were happy to be a part of, that we were happy to enjoy. Yesterday, this jersey that's beside me right now, not even yesterday, today's Tuesday. So Sunday, first off, I went to a party. Shout out to my guy, Edson. They throw a dope party in downtown Toronto every Sunday. But the edition this week, the Caravana edition, it was lit. I was wearing this Shai Gilgeous-Alexander jersey that's beside me right now. And no joke, about 15 or 20 people stopped me to talk about Canada basketball. That's never happened before. To just talk about, hey, we got a real chance here. I think we can give the U.S. a go. I think we can medal. Yo, I can't wait to watch the next game. Like, people are just hyped up. And to me, that's what this is about. You're building towards something. We forget the steps necessary to get to a place. We think that everything is just microwavable and, hey, we got NBA players, everybody played, we qualified for the Olympics, boom, automatic medal. No, that's not how it goes. But I urge people to also realize that this moment right now, how everyone's feeling, everyone making their jokes on Twitter, Jamal Murray still trending on Twitter, all of that stuff, they're going to come back stronger from that. They're going to come back and build it. And I feel like in terms of the fans and the media, let's not do the thing that they do in other sports where like, oh, the world is over. Hey, we need to do this. Oh, we need to do that. Like, you lost a game to France in Paris, in France, right? Like, you lost a game in the quarterfinals to the host team. That's a very good team. And you lost in the quarterfinals. It's disappointing, yes, but you still can't forget everything that you've done to build up the foundation of where you are now as a program. You can't, right? You went from trying to bag your NBA players to play to getting the guy who was an MVP candidate to not only play, but put the team on his back and play well. You've learned from watching how the team plays the importance of having Lou Dortz around, of having Dylan Brooks around, right? And it's not just about, hey, we need to put Wiggins on this team. Hey, we need Shaedon Sharpe on this team. Hey, we need Ben Mathurin on this team. Like, it's not just about, like, you're building a team, right? You still have to build a team. So to me, there's lessons to be taken from this. And another lesson is just understanding how terrible the whistle can be in international play. Because that's just a major factor in this one, right? This from Josh Lewenberg, and I think this is an important point to bring up when all the focus is always on the NBA players. So France came into the quarterfinals with 5 NBA players. Wemby had 7 points. Gobert had played 4 minutes. Fournier came off the bench. Batum was scoreless, and Koulibaly played 1 minute. That's just to show you the importance of understanding how different international play is versus the NBA. It's just a different ball game. And Canada found that out. I'm going to go to my guy, Rash Madani here, who's been doing just amazing work covering the Olympics, going from venue to venue, and just the amazing storytelling that the Olympics provides. My guy, Rash Madani, has done an incredible job in doing so. And he's been tweeting out some quotes here. This from Jordi Fernandez says, "It really hurts. We just didn't have a good game. I could have been better. I should have helped them." Jordi Fernandez says, "We didn't match their energy and physicality. Offensively, I thought it was our most selfish game. We didn't share the ball." Pointed out 14 assists to 14 turnovers. That, again, goes back to one of the themes that we were talking about throughout this game, right? The fact that, okay, Dylan Brooks was 1 for 9, but a lot of those attempts were coming off of isolation plays, right? Him trying to dribble through the entire defense. And you understand why Canada reverted to such a style of play in this game, right? The reason being because you're down, right? When you're down such a large number and you're trying to make a comeback, you're going to try to switch things up and you're going to try to play in a different style and a different way of running your offense, because you're going to be much more focused on trying to get downhill, trying to get to the cup, trying to get good looks. And you think you're doing that by playing iso ball. But Jordy's right. Their offense did not play to the same level that we've seen throughout. But also Jordi Fernandez, man, I mean, he took a tech late in the game, which, I mean, I think he took that technical foul for the entire country of Canada. Right? Because we're all at home watching, just completely frustrated at that at the lack of foul calls for Canada, or just complaining about the whistle in general. We all totally understood him getting that technical late. But for him to come out here and say it really hurts, we just didn't have a good game, I could have been better, I should have helped them. That's a guy that I want as my head coach. And I hope that somehow, some way he stays with the program. I know things might change because now he has more responsibility as being the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. But I think he's done an incredible job with this team. I think having a guy that your star players that you're getting to play for their country, I think it really matters, having them buy into what the coach is selling. And I'm going to tell you, the way that he has those guys playing defense, you're not going to get that buy-in just from every single coach, right? You're not going to get that the players buying into just any coach that's telling them, hey, I want you to full court press the whole game. It's tough. Back to my guy, Arash Madani, with some more quotes here. Again, big shouts to Arash, man. He says, this is from Shai, quote, "They played better than us. They played harder than us. That's what happens when you let teams get out to a good start. We wanted to win. I don't know why we started out that way, but it does. It just hurts. For the most part, we understood the assignment. Tonight, we didn't. Is there more to that one? Hold Hold on. Oh, tonight we just didn't. Close quote. Pardon me. Lou Dort. It's tough. We worked so hard to get to this point. We have to live with the wins and losses. We struggled executing our stuff. France made tough shots. We have to live with that. It's really disappointing. We had goals to get all the way to the end, and when it gets cut short, it's tough, and we have to live with it. We have to do whatever it takes to get back in 4 years. Listen, man, I'm riding with these guys. Y'all can be mad. Y'all can be frustrated, but I know that I've spent, I turned 41 on Saturday. That's what I'm saying. Rocking this Canada jersey and talking to so many people about Canada basketball. I've watched a lot of bad Canada basketball for the majority of my life. So to have this team be where they are now, I'm going to choose to be like, hey, this is just another step on the way to getting to where you want to get to. That's how I'm going to choose to look at this. Is it disappointing? Yes. Did you have medal hopes? Yes. Would you have wanted, best case scenario, you saw the silver medal in your sights, you wanted to give the U.S. a go? All of that is all true. Could Jamal Murray have played better? Yes, of course. Could Canada have had a better start against France today? Of course. Could the refs have been better? Of course. But that's the beauty of sports. I'm going to choose to do this where we have a platform where we could have like extended conversations about things where people can write in and say their thoughts, right? And give their take on what happened. Nolan says SGA is good. Everything else about Canada is not that good. That sounds like an American fan, but that's cool. No problem. Someone's asking, who are you cheering for now that Canada is out? I'm not there yet. I'm not ready yet to I'm just not ready yet to be cheering for someone else. This loss sucks. This loss really sucks. And you take that feeling and you put it back into supporting this program more, right? Building up this program more. The pre-tournament qualifiers, when they have their events where it's like Canada's having friendlies in your city, go support this program. That's how you show these guys that we're behind them, that you help them succeed and get to this level again. It cannot be another 24 years before we're here watching the Olympics, cheering on for Canada again. It can't be. And to me, because it has been 24 years, like I remember watching Canada lose 24 years ago. Big shouts to my guy Sherman Hamilton, by the way, who was a starter on that Canada team, by the way. But my point is, it can't, like, everyone's mad, everyone's frustrated, understand that. I just think now's the time with where this program is and you're building this program, right? It's not like you're, a powerhouse in international basketball. Like, this isn't hockey. Do you know what I mean? Like, when Canada loses in hockey and the World Juniors and the Olympics and people get mad, okay, cool, right? You have years and years of a head start. You're one of the few countries in the world that plays the game. Like, all of those things, it's just different. Basketball is a worldwide game. You have international basketball taking a step up to where the majority of MVP candidates aren't even from the United States of America, right? Like, the game is just at such a different place right now. And I think that, for us as a nation, it's important to like get behind these guys, let these guys know that, hey, we're just as frustrated and mad as you guys are, but we're behind you the next 4 years or whenever the next World Cup is. We're all going to tune in and watch. The next Olympics, we're all going to be behind the squad, the whole process, the whole way through, watching the games, cheering on this team, because this stuff matters. The next Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, wherever he is, watching this tournament right now, these moments are important. Steve Nash, like, I'd love to hear from Steve Nash right now, just talking about, how tough, and I'm sure gutted he is watching this. And even, a guy like Jay Triano, who has been through it with this program for so long, Like, those are the dudes that are able to tell you how difficult this process is and how difficult it is to do it without the infrastructure that some of these other countries have. Whether it's funding, whether it's like marketing, like the US goes on a full-on tour that's televised on Fox, and that's all a money-making venture to make the experience for these NBA guys when you're asking them to come. That's why they're doing all this. That's why they were playing games in London and in Dubai and all these different places ahead of the Olympics. They're doing a full tour to make money for their program, to build up the support. Now, Canada basketball isn't there yet, but we should be, right? And the way that basketball is growing in this country, right? We got to talk about this more like we talk about other sports. Because, if this was the Winter Olympics and it was hockey, there's like 10 post-game shows that would be on television right now breaking this whole thing down, right? Basketball, we're not there yet. But we got to keep building. This is just another building block. As tough as it is, as difficult as it is, I'm going to choose to support these guys, to big these guys up. And listen, there's no moral victories. No moral victories. It's not what I'm saying. It's a frustrating game. 82-73, Canada falls. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 27 points. He put in work for Canada. And, Shai was missing a couple free throws late. You could just tell my guy was tired. And this is another thing I got to say too, right? Because, again, there's going to be a lot of people. Shai played 37 minutes in this game, right? There's going to be a lot of people that are like, oh, Jamal Murray didn't do this. Nembhard didn't do this. All of these things, people are going to be mad. But they don't realize that just having someone to the caliber of Jamal Murray, whether he played at a level that you want him to or not, right? Having someone at the caliber of Jamal Murray allows Shai to not be on the ball and have to carry every single possession. And that alone is such a huge, huge benefit to Team Canada. So I'm going to be the one here who I know, as if I look, I'm sure Jamal Murray is still trending. People are still slandering him. I'm going to be the one to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to be dissing Jamal Murray here. He played bad. He had a bad game. He didn't have a good offensive tournament at all for Team Canada, and they needed him to be better. All of that is huge. But the flip side of that, to me, is the fact that Jamal Murray, just having him there, having the presence there of Jamal Murray, did help Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It did. That's just a matter of your understanding of basketball compared to, just sitting and watching a box score and thinking, well, that's all it's about. Listen, tough loss for Team Canada. You tried to fight a first half deficit in which you're down 16 at the half. And, France had a 25-8 advantage in free throws in that first half. Canada did not shoot the ball well. Things did not go well for them at all. But give France credit, right? They put up a huge upset for them, and their guys stepped up and played big. Listen, all I'm going to say is, for France to shoot 42 free throw attempts in a 40-minute game, you do with that what you want. Again, I'm going to stress, a lot of different things can be true at the same time, right? Canada could have lost because Jamal Murray didn't play that well. The free throw shooting wasn't there. They just got off to a horrible start. And here's my guy says, and this is where, there's certain people when you say certain things, I'm not going to say who this is. There's certain people when I see you say things, I genuinely get that you don't understand how basketball works. If this is a quote here that I'm reading, and I'm not going to say who it is. If anyone thinks this game is about the refs, they've missed the point. I don't think you understand how basketball works. Again, Canada put themselves into a deficit. Cool. But when you're trying to come back against a team that is in the bonus and every time you touch them, it's a foul, what are you supposed to do? How do you then, like, you're playing solid defense, but it's not like every single foul Canada made was contesting a shot. It's not like the fouls that Canada made was, hitting guys, or guarding them hard on defense. Like, they were calling fouls on dudes going for rebounds. And what do you do then? I don't know. It's just a tough go for Canada, and everyone's going to be mad, but everyone also thinks that it's just easy. And this is not easy. It's just not. You got to understand, just because you put in your NBA players, things are not going to go super easy for you. Sorry, I'm frustrated. I'm taking on the frustration of the fan base right now and trying to answer to that right now. Dre checks in and says, RJ Barrett should have taken more shots than Jamal Murray. It's no excuse. RJ and SGA are the dudes. Jamal didn't have it in this tournament. RJ, I'm going to give RJ Barrett credit, because what RJ Barrett did throughout this entire tournament was he played within himself. He never forced it. He never did anything, outside of what he's capable of. He did it within the offense and did it, when the ball came to him. And, it took him a while to get going, but to what Jordy Fernandez, I read the quote from Arash Madani earlier from his interview with Jordy Fernandez, and he just said they didn't really move the ball a lot. And in that first half, normally what you see from Canada to start games is they're running their offense through Dylan, and they're getting Dylan Brooks and RJ Barrett coming off pin downs, getting to the cup, just in rotation, right? Where you're getting it off ball movement, you're getting it off some form of action, and those guys are able to put points up. That's normally how Canada starts games, and they just weren't able to start this game like that. And that was to their detriment, right? That was a 13-point deficit at the half, at the end of the first quarter. That was just tough, right? And so RJ, it took him a while to get it going, but he was able to come through and knock down some shots late to make it a game. Again, through all of that, we can say and talk about all the negatives of losing just one game and you're out. But through all of that, Canada got it to within 5 points very late in that game with 4 minutes left. They were right there. Dre says Brooks played like trash also. Only SGA and RJ Barrett showed up today. The one thing I'll say in Dylan Brooks' defense, you can't defend shooting 1 of 9, right? No one's going to defend that. But the one thing I will say in defense of Dylan Brooks is the way that he plays defense, the level of intensity that he's playing defense on Wembanyama, who went 2 for 10. Like, if Dylan Brooks is going 1 for 9 and Wemby's going 2 for 10, if you're Canada, I'm taking that trade-off. And it's just a reminder, right? There's 2 sides to the floor. So, yeah. Another comment says Murray and Brooks let Canada down. Again, I'm not going to go there. I think Canada lost as a team. It's not like Shai got off. Canada had 10 points in the first quarter, right? So it's not like Shai got off to a great start either. Nobody did. As a team, you heard Jordy Fernandez say, I should have done better. And France, I don't know what's going on. There's tweets about Gobert having surgery. There's tweets about Gobert being injured, and that's why he didn't start. Like, there's so much talk online about what was really wrong with Gobert, and I don't know. But the bottom line is, this from Ben Gulliver, who says, French coach said Gobert did not undergo surgery on his injured finger, but the lineup changes were based on matchups. He said Gobert's finger was examined, including an MRI, but it was not surgery. He's like, small ball. I wanted Wemby to start at the 5, Yabusele at the 4, and Fournier bench because he wanted a defensive starting 5. So you give the French coach credit. And sometimes in sports, you tip your cap to the other team. Their coach made the proper adjustments. Remember, they played Canada already, right? And Gobert did not do well in that game. So they made their adjustments from that first matchup against Canada, and you saw the lineup changes. They got themselves off to a much better start than Canada did. And then the free throws came into play, and that just changed the whole flow of the game. You're down 13 to start in the first quarter, and then the other team shoots 25 free throws in the first half. You can tell me those two things are not related, but when you watch basketball, you have to have an understanding of how difficult it is when you're having to gut out your buckets and not getting the same calls that the other team is, and they're getting those shot attempts, and they're having to shoot free throws. It's just tough. It's just tough. Horrible loss for Team Canada. They're super disappointing. Big shouts to the people that were watching this on the Instagram live feed. Big shouts to the people that checked into the feed on the YouTube page as well. We're up over 730 people that were into this chat watching on our YouTube stream. So really appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in to this Canada Hoops Daily live hangouts. It's been a lot of fun. We've been watching Canada basketball games, men's and women's games online. We've been doing post-game wrap-ups as well. It's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun for me to do this and have some fun and enjoy this with our fan base and like-minded fans that are the sickos that want to just talk Canada basketball at every turn. And it's been a lot of fun doing it. You obviously hope that we would be able to do it with wins, but it doesn't always work out that way, right? It just doesn't work out that way. And I think if you're Team Canada, if you're Team Canada and you're the fan base, instead of piling on right now, I think you got to take a step back and gain some perspective. Maybe that'll come in a couple of days, but you lose in the quarterfinals. That just happens, It wasn't a given for them to medal. You hope that they would medal. The path was there, but you're going to have to beat France in France. You're going to have to beat Germany, most likely, who are the defending World Cup champions. So either way, things were tough. You needed more from Jamal Murray for sure, but Jamal Murray and Jamal Murray alone is not the reason why Canada lost this game. I'm seeing Zach Edey trending. If you think Zach Edey was going to play in this game, then I'm really going to question what you understand and know about basketball. And also, if I'm Canada, right? Like, people are saying, here's a tweet that says, Zach Edey and Wiggins would have made a massive difference in this game. Listen, I'm going to say this once, and I hope people understand where I'm coming from with this, okay? I would much rather have Dwight Powell and Lou Dort playing than Zach Edey and Wiggins, because I know that Lou Dort and I know that Dwight Powell, they want the smoke. If I have to question if you want to play or not, nah, it's okay. Stay home and watch and take the accolades of people on Twitter tweeting out, oh, Canada needed Zach Edey. Missed me with all that. You didn't want to play. That's cool. Enjoy Summer League, right? I'm going to be here and I'll ride with Shai. I'm going to ride with Jamal Murray, Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort, Kelly, Dwight Powell, all of those guys. I'm going to ride with those guys because the end of the day, right? People can say all they want about, you just think we're going to throw an NBA player in there. France benched, here, hold on. The same person's tweet that I read earlier, they say, have to think things are trending up for this team, but a lack of size, not just Edey, but stouter players closer to fours than twos is a problem. Completely disagree about that too. But listen, if you just watch that basketball game in which France benched Rudy Gobert, why on earth do you think that Zach Edey would be the answer for Canada? Make that make sense for me. Again, France benched Rudy Gobert. Do you know how difficult that's got to be for you to bench Rudy Gobert as a coach for France in the Olympics quarterfinals? And y'all are out here thinking that Zach Edey would have made a difference in this game for Canada? Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? I got to look at myself and think that I'm falling for the trap. And what I mean by that is falling for the negativity of social media. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to choose to support our guys. I'm going to choose to big our guys up. I'm going to choose to, thank these guys for watching the struggle that this program has been for the last 2+ decades and assembling to have the best Canadian team that this country has ever produced. And listen, 4 years from now, I don't know, Shai should still be there, but Dylan and Jamal, those guys will be in their 30s. Dwight and Kelly will be a lot older. RJ, Nemhard, they'll be a little older. It's going to be interesting, right? You got Shaden Sharp, you got Mathurin, but Shai's going to be back, right? But the biggest thing that I want to applaud this group for is they took on the challenge. They took on the commitment of 3 straight summers, putting on a Canada jersey and deciding that they wanted to rep and bring this team back, bring this country back to places they hadn't been in 24 years. Y'all can be negative about that. I get it. I'm disappointed too. I wanted them to medal. We all wanted them to medal. But I'm just not going to shit on these guys because they played bad and they lost. They just lost. That happens in sports. You lose sometimes, right? And this is why people always ask me why I do these pods, right? Why we decided to do live watch-alongs, why we decided to, do post-game shows. And the reason is because I know that there is a market out there for people who want more coverage or more context beyond a tweet, beyond a 5-minute segment on our daily shows. There are people that want that context, and I want to build platforms to be able to do that. I don't even care about being at the forefront, to be honest. Being at the forefront of it is just out of a lack of, other options, and it's just easier for me to do it. But I want to build these platforms going forward where we're able to have open dialogue and able to have discussions that go past more than Jamal Murray sucked and that's why we lost. We need Zach Edey. Like those are not good takes. Now, it would be great to have Zach Edey, cool, but he wouldn't have played in this game. Who was Zach Edey guarding in this game on France? Serious question. Because Gobert didn't play. And he's not guarding Wembanyama. So what are we talking about, right? Jamal Murray played poorly, but it's because you're playing under the context of Jamal Murray, NBA Finals Jamal Murray, borderline NBA All-Star Jamal Murray. I get that, right? I totally understand that. But the presence that Jamal Murray brings in terms of giving yourself another ball handler that's not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that allows Shai to get a bit of a rest, that on its own is enough of a benefit that helped propel Canada to where they are now. Now, the difference between Canada making the quarterfinals and actually medaling, that's when you need the superstar status of Jamal Murray, the superstar capabilities of Jamal Murray. So you need that. You just didn't get it. But the way to go about it and build your program up is not to tear these guys down when they're the ones that first decided that we're going to assemble for the best Canadian team ever. Rally behind them. Build them. Be positive about this. Know that they are disappointed, and shitting on them online isn't doing anything. I mean, it's getting you clicks, I guess, but what is that doing for you? We all wanted Jamal Murray to play better, and he just didn't, And I would go down with Jamal Murray. Like, I give credit. I think Jordy pulled all the right strings. I would have kept playing Jamal Murray too and hope that he would have been able to find a way to knock down some big shots. It just didn't work. But if you give me the option of riding with Jamal Murray or not, I'm going to take that chance. And listen, I thought having Nikhil in a role in which your job is just to come on defense and wreak havoc at the defensive end for the 5 minutes to 10 minutes that you're going to play a game and make life hell. Like, that changed the momentum of the game and allowed Canada to make comebacks, right? The strength of Team Canada the big turning point for me in this game of watching Jordi Fernandez try to figure things out, he tried to run a lineup out there, which was Jamal Murray in the backcourt with Shai and Andrew Nembhard. And Canada was getting stops, but they couldn't put up points. And if that's your offensive backcourt and you're not able to get points, you gave that a go. And then he went back to Lou Dort and company, and Lou Dort was getting steals. RJ was getting out on the fast break. That's how these guys were playing, because that's how Canada has to be successful and win. It was just too much of a deficit to climb out of. And especially when you're, it's tougher for you to play defense because of the disparity in the free throws. And anyone who says the free throws wasn't a factor in this game, I'm going to vow to you that I will never take anything you say about basketball seriously ever again, because that's just a stupid take. The free throws is not why Canada lost, but it's a big reason why they lost. You can come back from 13 points. 13 points is nothing to come back from. That's easy. Canada proved that. But when you are making that comeback and the other team shoots free throws every time you touch them while you're grinding out your baskets at the other end, that takes a toll. So anyways, I'm going to leave everyone with this. Tough loss for Canada in the quarterfinals, and they had podium goals. There's no doubt about that. There's no other thing to say about it other than this is a disappointing loss for the Canadian men's national team that has been working towards this moment in terms of getting to the Olympics, that got off to a great start, that got out of the group of death, and were able to get to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2000, 24 years ago. They got here. And this is a disappointing end to what was a really good run. But to me, right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the step back and I'm going to look at the last 3 years of what they've been able to build with this program in terms of getting the buy-in and commitment from a guy in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who put you on his back multiple times over and was able to lead you to heights that you hadn't seen before, right? Going 3-0 in your group in the Olympics, right? Now, add in the fact that you spent 3 years getting one of the MVPs of the league to buy into your program, and then getting Dylan Brooks to play some of the best basketball he's played in his career while wearing a Canada jersey. RJ Barrett, same thing. Watching him follow in his dad's footsteps for the national team. Kelly Olynyk and Dwight Powell. Like, I'm going to remember the World Cup run and Canada getting bronze and them qualifying for the Olympics and seeing the emotions that brought to them. And I know that a lot of people who are watching this, who are dealing with this loss, didn't really take in that height of success last summer for Canada. And I get that, right? This is the bigger moment. This is the bigger platform. This is the bigger stage that you were hoping Canada would be able to live up to the expectations on. But they just didn't. But I'm going to use this moment to choose to look at this as an opportunity to build, to look at this disappointment for the group to build and motivate, everybody, fans, media, players, the organization of Canada basketball to just be better over the next 4 years so that this team is in a better position, in a better place, that when it's in prime time for us, the LA Olympics, right? Going to be prime time, that we're in a position to where they do live up to the expectations in medal. This is a tough loss, no doubt. This is a disappointing loss, no doubt. And people have a right to be frustrated and mad, but just learn and have the understanding that international ball is different. And there are multiple reasons as to why Canada lost this game. And it's not just as easy as one thing. So I'm not saying don't be mad at Jamal Murray. I'm not saying don't be mad at these guys for having a difficult game and losing to France in the quarterfinals. I'm not saying don't be mad. Be frustrated. But flip that into motivation. Flip that into positive energy to big this up, as there's a lot of people who've been watching this program and watching basketball in this country for a very long time. And just even getting to this point and having these moments I've got to thank these guys for giving us that opportunity, for watching the Olympics and watching these high stakes games for the last 2 weeks and being able to do this together, right? Like, I'm on a live stream talking by myself. There's no reason why there was almost 750 people doing that with me for the last 3 hours on this broadcast. And I think, for me, I look at that and I thank these guys for giving us a collective of something to talk about, something to be hyped up about, something to be proud of. Like, you were rooting for that team because they bust their ass. Like, they played hard. And I think that is something that when we watch a lot of basketball nowadays, we watch a lot of NBA basketball, and you question, you're questioning, load management. Do they really care about this? Like, they made a bunch of rule changes and changed the season to make guys try and play hard and try to get them to try in the All-Star game, to get them to try during the regular season, to get them to suit up during the regular season for enough games. For me, I'm happy to watch Canada play at this level in the Olympics because it's just been such an amazing thing to watch. And I'm going to continue to cheer for them. I'm going to continue to root for them, and I'm going to continue to urge the fans and media to push to cover this team the way that they deserve to be covered. Disappointing loss in the quarterfinals for Team Canada, but hey, that's what sports is. You win, you lose. It wasn't going to be easy. The biggest lesson is be happy that you got your NBA players to come out and play, but understand that it takes a lot more than just that. And the buy-in and the commitment and the growth that you've seen from this program under their core of guys that have been there the last 3 years, and then people, just trying to rag on Jamal Murray for playing poorly. To me, that just shows everything else that you've built with this program and what you need to improve. You need to further build your program to have these guys coming in summer after summer and working out together to build on that camaraderie. Because you could tell, if there's anything you could tell, Jamal Murray was not comfortable. And would you have liked him to play in some of those pre-tournament games? Of course. But if there is something he was dealing with, if there is something involving the contract, and you had to choose, I'm going to choose him playing in the Olympics. And it didn't go well for him, and that's okay. That happens. That's sports. But I applaud my guy for coming out and trying. I applaud them for putting on for the country and showing the group that's coming up next that, hey, this is what's possible. I'm not going to crush them. I'm going to root them. I'm going to support them. And you know what? My hope is that you do as well. I want to thank everybody who logged on at any point to watch any of our live hangouts that we've done, anyone that logged on to watch any of the post-game shows or listen to the podcast. Really appreciate you. The live podcast you can find on Apple or Spotify. Just go to Canada Hoops Daily. You can also find the video content on YouTube at Sheldon Alexander. Thank you to anyone who watched this podcast feed. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to bless the video with the like, bless it with the share. That's how you support the movement that is Canada Hoops Daily. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in, whether you tuned in for a second, whether you tuned in for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, the whole game, whatever it is. And whether you agree with me or not, I appreciate you the exact same way. Thank you, everybody, so much for being a part of this whole thing. Even though Canada falls, heartbreaking fashion, 82-73, Canada loses to France. They are eliminated in the quarterfinals. A disappointing end to an epic run for Team Canada. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing everything for the team, putting the team on his back. An epic performance from Shai with 27 points. He just needed a little bit more. But also a tip of the cap to France. Sometimes you just got to give credit to the other team as well. And France's team, France's coach made all the adjustments, made a difficult decision in terms of benching Rudy Gobert in this game and going to play small ball against Team Canada. A decision that obviously worked. And you just got to give credit where credit is due. France came out. They came out more energetic. They came out more enthusiastic. They got behind their crowd, who was just fired up right from the get-go, and they made all the plays early. And yes, reffing wasn't also an issue for Canada. Yes, a lack of scoring behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was also a problem. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Canada lost, and you just hope they continue to build forward. I don't want to forget about this team. I don't want to stop bigging up this team, so I won't, and I hope you don't as well. Thank y'all for tuning in to this Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram. On Twitter, it's Can Hoops Daily. Instagram, Canada Hoops Daily. And my name is Sheldon Alexander. You can find me on Twitter at Shell Alexander, on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all, everybody, for rocking with me here. I don't really know how I've been talking straight for 3.5 hours here, but here we are. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I really do. All we ever ask for in return is just to like any video, like the post, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate that. Thank you for rocking with me. And listen, it's been a long time. We've been waiting for these moments, and we were here. We got to cheer for it. We got to watch it. We got to live in the moment of high stakes international Olympic basketball. I'm still going to say what a time to be alive indeed, because we really did used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this. This is the Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.